Alaikum. I hope everyone is well today. I wanted to talk about chronic illness in women due to suppressing their emotions. Since time immemorial, mankind has been afraid of female rage. That is because females, for the most part, since ancient history, have been oppressed. We have suffered under the hands of the patriarchy and under men. And I don't want to overuse cliched terms like patriarchy. But basically, men have always been in charge and keepers of women, sometimes against our will, sometimes oppressively, rarely and seldomly lovingly. Although we hope that most of our sisters there, or at least some of them, are enjoying the protection of men who are their fathers, brothers, uncles, and maharim, so that they are, safeguarded in their health, their safety, their welfare, their finances, in every way possible that a woman can hope for protection from a man. Unfortunately, the vast majority of women are left at the mercy of men, their own husbands, their husbands' angry outbursts, their husbands' rage, their husbands' addictions, their husbands' abuse and infidelity, their husbands' betrayal of them in so many ways, whether it's with other women, whether it's with his own family. The fact remains that these women have been at the mercy of these men and do not enjoy the succor, the safety, and the blanket of comfort that a man can provide for a woman if she is surrounded enough to thrive with the right man. And what we find, in fact, becoming more and more apparent is that a lot of women who are not only at the mercy of these abusive men are then force-fed sabr by society to tell them that their pain is not valid. What they see, they didn't see. What they heard, they didn't hear. What they know, they don't know. They need to shut up, suck it up, and just carry on being the wife, whatever that means for them. Usually it means being a subservient maid, being a cook, being a cleaner, being, a mother to their children, taking care of his family and his parents, not the other way around. It's very, very imbalanced and very one-sided. Sometimes, and in some cases, as has been in my own family, very close to the bone, very close to my heart, the woman becomes the breadwinner. The woman is actually the sole, in fact, breadwinner, sometimes of empires. She could buy and sell 1 million men like her husband, yet she has been forced by society to stay with him. Of course, at the end of the day, it is a woman's choice. But I don't want you to ever make light of the burden that it is to walk away from a marriage, or for what society does in terms of tear you to shreds. Should you be without your husband, or should you be a divorcee? Of course, times are getting easier for that, but it's still a huge taboo. It's still a huge stigma. And most women will stay because it's simply too fearful. It's too fear-inducing. It's too scary to leave a marriage. But what you're often going to find is that these women suppress their emotions. It's the only way they can suck it up and keep going in that kind of a marriage. They suppress their emotions. They have insane amounts of anger, rage, insane amounts of pain from being abused and from being subservient to a tyrannical ruler. They have insane amounts of hurt on behalf of their children who are possibly also abused by their husband and whom they have to intervene for or watch being abused in front of them and are helpless and cannot do anything to aid their children or be the safety for their children. So these women often suffer at the hands of these husbands and contract chronic diseases. These manifest in a multitude of ways, some of which can be autoimmune diseases, some of which can be cancer and terminal illnesses like that. So all of this suppressed emotion, they're not allowed to express themselves. They're not allowed to tell their husbands and talk to them and have a civil dialogue and a conversation about their feelings, expressing themselves in a healthy way. This doesn't exist in those kind of abusive dynamics. There is no room for how you feel or for anyone to care about how you feel, because your feelings as a woman in that kind of marriage are not even considered. They're irrelevant. You're meant to do what you're meant to do. You're meant to bear the burdens that you have to bear. And whether you like it or not, that's your lot in life. If you choose to leave, you'll be ostracized. You will be cast out from heaven and thrown to earth and, left with nothing. Just a shell of a human being. You'll be stripped of all your human rights, dignities, all your financial freedoms that you once enjoyed while married, and even your kids. Now, for the women who are the sole breadwinner, this hurts me in a way that I cannot explain, because they have all the ability to leave, yet they still stay. To save what face when their children are suffering so grievously at the hands of this man, and they themselves have contracted these terminal illnesses, these autoimmune disease, chronic illness, chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue, their hair is falling out, they have digestive issues, they have chronic backache, they have endless headaches, every single part of their body is falling apart and falling to pieces, yet you'll still find them grinding at the millstone. And this kind of subservience kills me, because I've seen more than once, more than thrice, more than the numbers of fingers on digits on my hands I can count, the amount of women who have stayed in marriages like this and ended up dead before their husbands. I can't say that they've met an early grave, because we as Muslims know that we pass at our appointed time. But I'm 100% convinced and sure and convey to you that I feel that death was brought upon them due to suppression of their emotions at the hands of their abuser, due to the fact that they could not express the pain that was inside their hearts, the pain that they witnessed at the hearts of their children breaking due to the abuse towards their children as well, the pain that they had to endure at the hands of tyrannical, malicious, exploitative in-laws that abuse, use, and just violate these poor women. Whether it comes to getting them to actually physically do hard labor, or, the threat of their reputation being on the line, or just being snarky and vindictive and malicious in their gossip and in their treatment of them. Bitchiness, basically. So all of this adds up. And then, I've had women who have come to me with lumps in their chest, asking me to feel their chest. And I felt the cancerous lumps, and I didn't know how to tell her to just go and get it checked. And she was misdiagnosed as something else, but eventually she passed away. And this broke me to pieces, because she was extremely close to me, and like a mother, in fact. So when I firsthand got to experience women that I love a lot, like more than I can explain, passing away due to the stress that a man can bring into their lives by means of their abuse, their narcissistic disorder, their pathologies, their abusive nature, their domineering, oppressiveness. All of this manifested itself in these illnesses. And these women caught cancer, and they passed away. And it makes me so angry that I have generational rage within me for these women that have been hard done by their men, had no alternative but to suck it up and get sick, and allow that suppression of those emotions to turn to poison in their blood, to turn to poison and toxicity in their bodies, and manifest as those illnesses that eventually led them to their graves. The only way forward, I feel, is that these women, all women, try their best not to suppress their emotions and to express them. If after 40 years of marriage, all talks, all hope of communicating in a healthy way has left, every thought of yours has gone out the building, there's no way that you can have a healthy conversation with this man. And if you have the means, the financial capability and ability, then there's no reason why on the face of this earth that you should be tolerating what these men are doing to you. It is literally killing you. The number one killer on earth for women, in my opinion, is men. Either directly or indirectly. A man can kill you without lifting a finger just by mentally and psychologically abusing you. Through narcissistic emotional abuse, many women have passed away. But the coroner or the cops, the police officers, the doctor who gives you the death certificate will not put cause of death, narcissistic asshole. They're not going to put there your husband killed you by means of or by way of narcissistic abuse. But that is in fact the reality for many women. They have passed away at the hands of their husbands due to narcissistic abuse. And if it's not the indirect killer where they are so mutilated inside emotionally that their body starts to attack itself, then these women are physically abused and perhaps even beaten to death, which is a more direct way of killing their wives, but nevertheless, they've still died at the hands of their husbands. So all of these illnesses, all of this chronic illness, all of these maladies, all of these maladaptive disorders, all of these autoimmune diseases, terminal illnesses, have only been brought or inflicted upon women by the means and by the hands of men. There has been no other way. And that is why I call women the shock absorbers of society. Because all a man's insecurities, all of his rage for lack of whatever he hates about himself or his life, or his disdain for his lot in life, or his failure to, succeed or earn as much or more than his wife, or become a useful member of society, or if a man fails at all of his dreams and has nothing to look forward to in life, or he's just a rotten to the core human being, all of his rage and ill feeling will be perpetrated on his wife. She's the buffer strip in his life. She's the shock absorber. She's the one who's going to bear the brunt of all of his, dysregulated emotions, of all of his rage, of all of his failures, of all of his catastrophes, of all of his childhood traumas, of all of his mummy issues. His poor wife is going to be the asswipe for all of that. And no wonder they're dying early. I shouldn't say early, but no wonder they're dying at the hands of these men. It's no surprise. It's a very heavy subject. And though I'm not feeling well, I had to jump on here and make this today because it hurts me. And I want to save as many women as I can by telling them, please. And block your ears if you can't stand swearing, but fuck what society thinks and fuck people. If you want to survive and actually live and not die of cancer or some illness, and if you are the breadwinner, more importantly, you have your own money, please leave this man. It's not worth dying over. It's not worth losing your life. And if you know me and anything about me, I'm all about expression of my feelings, not suppression of it. And, there's so many ways that are healthy for women to get this out of their system. I have so many under my belt right now. It's actually quite exciting. One of them is cryotherapy. So you jump into an ice bath and you breathe all of the pain, toxicity, inflammation out of your body. The other way is to do the sauna ice bath cycle. Then there's other ways like getting into seawater and swimming in the sun. All of this, including walking on, the beach or earth, is grounding, takes away toxicity from your body. The other thing that women can do is go to a rage room. We don't have that in South Africa yet, and I really was thinking seriously of getting a rage room. You can Google it. A rage room is where you have this room and you wear protective gear, and then you have a baseball bat or something, and you have this whole box of dishes, donated or from some antique store that have chipped ware or whatever, and you get to smash to smithereens all kinds of different tableware, dishes, TV sets, windshields, anything glass and breakable. You go in this room and you just smash it to pieces. And people have come out actually feeling a ton better. It's like one of the best ways to get therapy in this world. One of the least frustrating ways, to be honest, because sometimes the most traumatic thing you can do is sit in front of a therapist who doesn't care about you, spend $700 on her or him, and walk out feeling like they just robbed you. So yeah, rage room definitely is better in my opinion. So there's rage rooms, and of course screaming into a pillow, going to a salt bath. It's these flotation tanks. And there's lots of other ways that I'm unearthing for trauma release. There's tray, which is the shaking off, like when an animal has been traumatized in the wild, to recoup its life, it shakes its body violently, tremors. So it gets all of this trauma out of its body, out of its system, so it can continue, on its way without the baggage of that emotional trauma. So yeah, there's a lot of different methods that I'm currently trying and that I've heard of and will try, and I will hopefully document all of them on my channel. So do stay tuned for that. But yeah, do take care of your lovely selves, my dear loving sisters and women out there. Honestly, this whole channel is for you guys. I care about you so much, and I don't want to see another woman hurt or die at the hands of another man. God help me. So you have responsibility to yourself. You are an amana, a trust from Allah. Your kids are a trust from Allah. And more often than not, the kids actually happier when the wife leaves the husband, because all they want to see is their mother happy. Literally, I have read comments in my comment section saying that a daughter told her mother, I want to sell all my toys so we can move out of this house and leave daddy behind. Another girl had said that, a little boy told his mom, I can't wait to grow up so I can become a police officer and arrest daddy for what he did to you. I mean, these things that people have shared with me are honestly heartbreaking, and it just shows me that there's nothing more that your kids want than to see you happy. They do not want you to stay with your horrible husband for the sake of keeping what family together? A monster in the house, an abuser, a disaster where every day they're traumatized. It's better to be apart, regardless of what society tells you. And no, I'm not an advocate for divorce. It's the most horrible thing on earth. But if it means saving your life, then yes, I'm all for it. With that, take care of yourselves. Love and light to you. Assalamu alaikum and goodbye.